On this week's show, we're discussing Death Stranding 2 reviews are in, FBC Firebreak Reviews are in, and 15 years of PlayStation Plus. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game stories and news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and up there in the digital clouds on your podcast preference of choice. Your podcast players for this week are myself at RichieC89 and my co-host, the Arcane Rogue, Mr. Chris. How are you doing today?
Ready for some reviews. It's review season once again.
I can smell the reviews in the air.
I'm good. Apologies for my messy background. I've got boxes of wires. I've got tools everywhere. I'm still just finding my space in this new home. So
you've got a stack of nerdy boxes as well.
Yeah, I put all them in the corner. Some kind of visual aid for our video listeners, video viewers, I guess. But it's just one of them things where moving house, the games room, man cave, whatever you want to call it, kind of takes lowest priority. You don't need it to live. You don't need it to do anything. It's just like, right, whack everything in there. Get to it eventually. You
get the desk set up and the PC set up because you do need to occasionally work from home.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Beyond that being functional, right, focuses elsewhere.
It's just storage. Like, you can't even see this side of the room, but it's an absolute mess. Like I keep, when I'm playing on my Nintendo Switch 2, there's obviously the virtual cards that you get for the games. And when I first booted it up, it said to log into your Nintendo Switch to link it to your old console, but you need your old console accessible. It's somewhere in here.
Well, I can see.
It's not in the Nintendo Switch One box. It's in its own like carry case with its cartridges.
That makes sense.
But it's like buried in like a couple of tote boxes and stuff, and I just skipped it and went, you know what, I'll just log in anew with the Switch 2 and I'll find them at some point in the next year.
When you find, you go, oh, I'll get that out and I'll sort the sync out when you've got a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. But for now, it's there's still only Mario Kart that I'm able to play, so it's I'm still waiting for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think will be my next one. Maybe get a review up on the channel.
You should get Switch Online. Like, it's literally it's like 30 quid a year.
I've toiled with it. And thought I'll get it just for some variety to play, but I'm so deep in Expedition 33 right now. Still that.
What do you mean Expedition 33?
I mean Expedition 33. That I'm just kind of like, well, I might as well save the money until I genuinely want to play other things. But
see, I was thinking it'd be good for your daughter as well. Get her playing the old Mario games and stuff.
Do you think my 2-year-old's getting anywhere near my Switch 2?
No, your Switch 1. Your Switch 1.
It's buried. It's buried. Yeah. She'll be 5 by the time I find it again.
But yeah, I've always thought, even when I'm not playing my Switch, I've always thought the price of Switch Online is so low that you might. I've just had it since I got my Switch. I've never got rid of it because I just never really saw the point for like 30 quid a year. Like, even if you don't get the expansion pass, it's even cheaper.
Yeah, it's one of those that actually, if you subscribe to it now for your annual one, it's probably more financially viable, because I would imagine we're going to see price increases across the board this year again for Game Pass, PS Plus. You got to imagine Switch has got to go at some point because it is so cheap.
Yeah.
And with the swell of like new Switch 2 players, you can imagine Nintendo going, you know what? We know we're going to sell probably another 1 million plus over the Christmas period. We crank this up by another $5, add the extra 1 million new players on. That's like easy profit, isn't it, to turn over? So who knows? I'd hope it stays cheap, but it's not the way of the world right now.
Yeah, like the Switch 2 version, I think is $46.49 from CD Keys for a year.
Can't really argue.
No, you can't.
But so everything's going up, but this podcast's still free, Richie.
Indeed. But if you want to pay us some money, you can for as little as 99p, members. Oh, we do have a storefront. There is a sale up right now, isn't it, Chris? How's it done?
It may still be going, it may have not, 20%. It started on the 26th, but I can't recall how long it runs for. But
it's worth checking out.
You could pay full price.
Yeah. Like, we always recommend you pay a sale price, but you could pay full price if you wanted to. Go buy yourself a hoodie to keep yourself warm in this heat.
During the heat wave, yeah.
Yeah.
Just when you need it for. Cut the arms off.
Yeah.
Make one of those short hoodies that you see people at the gym wear. Where it's like, why would you wear a hoodie when you're sweating so much? But it's like, it's okay, I've cut the arms off.
It's because oddly enough, sometimes gyms are cold, but you want the movement in your arms.
You want the guns out.
Yeah, get the guns out.
That's why, yeah.
I have none. We need some GamerGuild swim shorts. That's what we need for the summer.
They're probably an option on there. I just haven't looked. They did say actually on the little bit of merch talk. I got an email from Spreadshirt saying they were actually going to cull a bunch of items from their overall store that don't really sell. So you might find if there is a particular item that you're interested in, it might not exist on the whole store. Not from our decision, just from a whole company perspective. They're getting rid of stuff. So who knows?
We probably need to do some housekeeping on the store after the cull. Where we'll go in and probably potentially set up some like line items, because let's be fair, when ours aren't exactly the biggest sellers, so I've got a feeling our store's gonna get eviscerated.
Probably. But now's your chance. Everyone, if you're out there.
But it might be a nice opportunity for us to actually just go, you know what, we'll pull everything down and do a refresh.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
There's and there is still a new shout out, because I know we've got our 100th episode in 2 weeks' time coming up. So celebrating 100 years, we might have something special for that. You'll have to go and check it out.
Indeed. But you know what we have been checking out this week, Chris? Actually, before we get into it, make sure you haven't already. You hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and so you stay in the loop with all our fantastic content here at GamerGuildTV. Such as our weekly live stream this week, which we were playing. What we were playing, Chris?
You can't remember, can you?
FBC Firebreak. I was just
took you a second.
I was just passing it over to you.
Oh, okay. I was like, what were we playing? I was like, it was only 2 days ago. FBC Firebreak. So this was the first live stream we've done in. Not a live stream because we did the ClickerCast Last of Us review, but the first gaming live stream we've done together for probably 2+ months. And we dove into Remedy's FBC Firebreak, which is the spin-off series from the Remedy's Control/Alan Wake universe. First-person shooter. I think I would probably describe it as like an extraction shooter.
I think it is, yeah. I think that is what an extraction shooter is.
Yeah, for those who've not played the game or seen much of it, it's essentially set in within the oldest house, which is the building from Control, where the Federal Bureau of Control, which is basically the FBI that maintain spooky, altering worlds, sci-fi events that happen in our universe, and they basically go in. They're basically like the Men in Black. They go in and contain the threat, or research the threat, or capture it and analyze it and that kind of stuff. And they're all kept in this building called the Oldest House, which in itself is an entity because the rooms can change, the characteristics within all change. But it's basically the head office for the FBC. That's where Control takes place. There's Alan Wake elements in the game as well if you've played through the DLC. But essentially, in FBC Firebreak is when shit goes off in the Oldest House, it's contained to each section, akin to what we would call a firebreak, where they lock down that area of the house, and then they send agents in, I guess, to clean it up, or check it out, or see what's happened, or probably all perish and die. And as FBC Firebreak, you go in as a squad of 3, with 3 particular characteristics to choose from. You can choose from a fixer, I'm going to say a water guy, I can't remember what the official term was, and an electric guy, I want to say. Someone has a wrench, someone has a water gun, and someone has an electric...
It's a mechanic, an electrician, and the fireman, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So you go in with one of these blue-collar jobs. Is it blue-collar? Or the manual labour? Are they blue-collar?
As a white-collar, I'm not sure.
As a white-collar, I'm not sure. That's you sound so privileged there.
Some colour of collar job.
Yeah, a manual labour job person goes in to fix it, and the game kind of stems around mechanics in the world. You get waves of enemies kind of come out in kind of zombie form or abducted policeman form, and you have to put out fires, fix stuff in the area, survive, complete a big objective, or defeat a big boss. And then retreat and come out and you get points, you get loot and such, and that's kind of how you upgrade your character, and then it's rinse and repeat. We did 2 of the main missions. One of them was a fire mission where we had to go through and turn off like extractor fans. Sounds really mundane. We had to go turn on extractor fans in a factory building whilst killing loads of people. Quite a bit of fun. We kind of learned the ropes by the second game we played, which was an ethereal post-it note had taken over a section of the office. and they would stick to you and block your visuals. So you have to wash them off you and go collect them all. Kind of like a power wash simulator. You had to clear the building of sticky notes while killing enemies and such. And I think we got the hang of it by the end. It felt as a team of three. The one level there was loads of stuff happening, and then the second level there wasn't enough happening. There was like a balancing thing.
The post-it note one was a bit crap. We seemed to be missing a handful of post-it notes, and we could not find them. So I think we were kind of relying on some like respawns, and it took longer than it should have done. But at no point did we feel like we're under pressure.
Yeah, but overall, I had fun with it, and I guess this is the issue that Firebreak is going to come up against. It's like, what's the hook to bring you back in? Because as much as I had fun playing it for 2 odd hours, and shout out to the folks who joined us in the live stream, I haven't had that urge to go back on my own or think, I'll just jump in for half an hour and do a mission. It's like, I enjoyed it. I didn't mind the world. The mechanics were quite fun once you got your head around them. But is it just another extraction shooter?
That was kind of my take. There's definitely some fun in there. And if you are the sort of person who just has a couple of friends and you just like to play games online for a few hours, a couple of evenings a week, you could have some really good fun with it.
Yeah.
But there's 1,000,001 extraction shooters, and does it, apart from it being set in the oldest house, does it do enough mechanically to distinguish itself?
Yeah, of course they did come out the other week and say that they've got like a full 2 big drops coming between now and Christmas, so they're going to support probably every quarter you're going to get a drop. But we'll get into the reviews, of course, in the news, and there's some updates about how many people are playing the game. But I enjoyed our live stream. It was nice to get back. I think
it was fun.
We'll have a look at this week and see what the crack is, and we'll go from there.
What else have you been playing? Anything other than Expedition?
No, I'm still on Expedition 33. I know a lot of people in our Discord have been talking about it, and a couple of people have got the Platinum Trophy now, and I'm grinding my way towards that. So I'm at a stage where I've had I'm in Act 3.
Okay, so you're ahead of me then.
Yeah. I looked at your trophies. So just to see so when I talk about it, I don't like spoil anything. But yeah, Act 3 caught me off guard a lot. I was like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And you'll get that exact same sensation when you reach Act 3 as well. And I'm at the grind stage now, so there's trophies for get to level 66, the Expedition, get to level 99. I'm currently like 54. But I've hit a chunk of the open world where I can just kind of explore and level up now without any inherent. I'm doing mop up of the
I'm
records.
aware of the next ability that SK gets after in Act 3. So
So that opens it up quite a lot, and I'm just going around exploring, leveling up, fighting loads of new enemies, exploring new areas, and game's fantastic. I'm having fun with it all. There's not a moment really where I've thought, oh, it's dragging, it's getting slow. It's just I'm powering through pleasantly.
Yeah. I've been doing a bit of clean up after I've got towards the end of Act 2, because I've got my first Axon is down now. I'm about to go for the second one, but before I went for that, I thought, right, I'll go back, and some of the areas right near the start of the game that I just came up, went danger, went, oh god, no, not going anywhere near that. I've went back to and done a bit of clean up. Like, one thing I can say is that volleyball can fuck right off. Gastro volleyball. It's horrible.
I haven't played it yet.
Your character does not move quick enough. Like
it's like when you try and block gradient attacks, does not move quick enough to do it.
Yeah.
Because
Gradient attacks are easier than normal ones because the screen changes colour and you go, oh, that's when I pressed the button.
See, I'm the opposite now. I feel like I'm getting really good with parries, but then when it comes to actual gradient attacks, I'm like, I don't know when I'm pressing it. Do I press it when the screen turns black and white, or do I wait for the little flash on the character?
I don't know. I've not had too many problems with gradient attacks. The only times I've missed a gradient attack to parry it is when they've went for a big move. I thought, right, I'm getting ready to parry, and I've jumped the gun and pressed parry. Then 5 seconds later, this turned into a gradient attack, and it just wouldn't let you.
Yeah,
because once you've locked in, you've locked in. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on, I think, endgame run now, where I'm doing the Pokemon RPG case of like, right, I need to go away, grind and level up across the rest of the entire Pokemon world and come back to the Elite Four when I've got everyone up to like level 80, 90. So I can go into it with enough power-ups, enough specials. And I'm doing my mop-ups. I think I've got only a handful of music records left. I think I've got a handful of expedition notes to find, and they all very much seem from the guide I'm using, they're all like the very last mission area. So I won't spoil it, but I'm at the point now, so I'm free of the story bar the finale to just go and level up. And like I said, I'm 54, 55 across the board.
Oh, so
you
need the end. Up to you need the end of Act 3 then?
Yeah, I think so. I think Act 3 is very much like, it gives you... It's almost like endgame stuff, where it's like it just gives you the freedom to go and do what you want before you tackle the final kind of thing. Like, most games go like, oh, if you want to go ahead, now is the time to go and grind and then come back to this point. That's the vibe I'm getting.
It's kind of like, okay, Act 2's done. Now we need to go face the final boss when we're ready.
Yeah. So I'm imagining the end's going to be a lot... I mean, I could be caught out off guard and it's actually not as short as I'm expecting, but I'm very much in that phase where I need the trophies for leveling up to 66 and 99, so I might as well use this time now, take a pause, go grind, and come back. There's something called the Limitless Tower or something, Endless Tower, where it is very much... where it is very much trials, just stackable trials, so you can level up there quite quickly because it's just trial. You don't have to explore, find enemies. It's just trial, reset, trial, and you level up quite quickly.
Clear the floor, you go to the next one, clear the floor, get to the next one, that kind of thing for ages.
It's like Saruman's Tower in The Return of the King for PS2, to give you a reference.
Yeah, I feel like I've still got loads of trophies to get, but I feel like it's one of them games where once you get to your point, they start just disappearing from you.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've still got loads of journals and stuff to get. But
yeah, it's it's definitely my front runner for Game of the Year now, though. Hands down. So much fun with it.
It's definitely still up there. It hasn't pipped Oblivion yet, but there again, I still got quite a bit of story to play.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Is that what you've been playing or anything else?
Yeah, that's literally all I've played this week. And it's likely to be that for a little while until I get that platinum. And then it's on to deciding what comes next.
Yeah, I'm at that place now as well, where I think in my head it might be Donkey Kong Bonanza, but like in terms of like trophy hunting, I'm tempted to pick up Indiana Jones because it's a little bit cheaper now that it's been a couple of months since release, and I know the DLC is coming out, so I'm thinking I might jump into Indiana Jones in time for the DLC. So
then so you don't have that thing where you play the game, then 6 months later DLC comes out.
Exactly.
It's hard to jump back into. That's probably not a bad idea actually, because you've been wanting it. So
yeah, exactly. So and like since Christmas, so it's been half a year since I was like, I want to get this, and then patiently waited. So, but again, the way the world works, it's like 3 more things will drop on Game Pass or something. It's like shit.
Yeah,
gaming.
I'm glad I got the 100% on Indiana Jones. No platinum for me though, because I played it on Xbox.
Maybe one day.
I think it's unlikely I'll play it on PlayStation again, to be honest, because I can just play it on Xbox.
Yeah, quite an easy trophy run though, wasn't it? Like
it wasn't too bad.
And complete stories and such. Yeah,
it was mainly stories, side quests, collectibles, a few combat trophies which weren't overly difficult, and that's about it really.
Good, I'm looking forward to it.
You should. It's a good game, but you know what is also good, Chris? You introducing us to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, a.k.a. The News.
The News. And as always, our news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p over on the YouTube channel. Gives you early access to certain shows, such as this one, Pokemon Blue, when I finally get time to record episode 9. But I'm planning to do it. I will find time to do it.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah. I'm still working on it. I just need to find a good chunk of time where I can actually record when I don't want to play Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Not going to bullshit it. That's the problem is, I could record, but I could go play this instead.
Yeah, we're only human, folks.
Yeah,
we're only human.
I will get it up though. I do intend to finish that game this year. I was doing quite well before I went to Paris with it. I think I got like 7 episodes recorded in the space of like 3-4 weeks, and since Paris I've recorded 1.
Sacre bleu.
Indeed. Sacre bleu, indeed.
Or putain, or med.
Putain.
Med. How many French swear words have we learned playing this game?
I already knew med, so putain is only one.
Putain. Which one's that? Is it shit or... No, med's shit, isn't it?
Isn't it like bastard or something?
Fuck, bastard, putain.
It's usually used like referencing someone or something.
It's definitely more emphatic than ooh la la.
Yeah, ooh la la. Death Stranding 2, Chris. The reviews are out, and at the time of recording, it's sitting on a Metascore of 90, which isn't too shabby.
Fantastic.
Yes, fantastic.
I'll stop now.
I'm trying to think, where do we go with this, because neither of us really played much of Death Stranding, have we?
No, I want to tackle it from an envious standpoint. I know I've just said I'll probably go into Indiana Jones, and I think that's because the brain of Hideo Kojima is so intense. I know I can't play 2 without playing 1. And I know a couple of folks in our Discord server have been talking about, like, they've gone back, they've played Director's Cut, and then looking at, like, the swell of positivity on the internet for this game, saying Death Stranding 2 has essentially taken everything from 1, elevated it, as you would expect with a sequel, he said, but this is just the more complete package. He said everything is just more attuned and better in every single way. The story is fantastic again. Kojima embellishes himself on the cutscenes and such at every opportunity, as is tradition for Kojima. But in terms of it, they said, like, yeah, this is... I've seen a lot of people saying, like, this is better than Metal Gear Solid, like his best Metal Gear Solid work. He's really honing his craft, and he's only seemingly getting better with age. And as you said, yeah, Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which I still don't really like that name. I feel like it takes away from the type of game it is. Oh, Richard's...
my phone. Not my phone.
Watching stuff. But yeah, on I don't know, on the beach, I feel like Death Stranding 2, because of the themes the game portrays from the trailers and the look of it, on the beach makes it sound like it's just a day trip out with the kids.
It's one of them. I feel like in context it'll make sense.
Oh, 100%.
Out of context, it's like, it seems a crap name, which I'm one where I feel like your name's got to work out of context as well, because
it does.
You don't know the context till you play the game.
Yeah, like if you think, is it called what's the rain called in the game? Is it Matterfall or something like that? Or
I genuinely haven't got a clue.
Because when the rain touches you, it ages you, I think, and that's the thing. You have to stay out the rain, because you'll basically turn into a skeleton and die if you hang around in it for too long. And I think it could be called like Death Stranding 2, like Matterfall or Agefall or whatever it is, like just some ambiguous word, but it sounds sci-fi and cool and futuristic to be like, oh yeah, that's what the game's about. It's about like traversing the world. Or they could have called it Death Stranding 2, like Amazon delivery guy, I guess. Yeah. But that would have been a bit on the nose. But yeah, in terms of the game itself, I'm jealous that I'm not into it. But then I did have that bug the other week when I was reading all the reviews coming out throughout the course of the last couple of days, thinking like, I could just boot up, like, I've got Director's Cut. I think we all got it as PlayStation Plus a while back.
The PS5 version, I'm looking at the moment, that's why I actually have my phone out. The PS5 version is included with PlayStation Plus Extra.
Yeah.
The Digital Deluxe Edition is paid for.
Yeah, I think I might have it anyway, because I did have it.
Yeah,
I do have. Yeah.
That's the Director's Cut, the £50 version.
Yeah, I have Death Stranding on PS4 disc, so I think I'd like that upgrade pathway to the Director's Cut at some point for like $9.99, like they did with Horizon and like they did with a couple of things. But yeah, I just looked at it and thought, like, it's probably a game that I'll really enjoy. And I think when the first one came out, it didn't do anything for me. I think it came out around Christmas time, right? So I'll have probably been playing some other major blockbuster that came out at Christmas.
I know what it was for me, why I didn't play the first one. Because for about 2 years before the game came out, it felt like every single month it was in the news cycle. But it was always portrayed as Kojima's next game, and never about the game. It was always about Kojima.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's a brilliant game director. But it's like, I feel like the game director, you shouldn't be marketing a game based on the director. You should be marketing it on the game.
Yeah,
and
I get that.
By the time it came to launch, I was sick of hearing it, and I also still had no idea what the game was.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to you with that one. My other reason this time round is thinking like I'd have to get through number 1 then to 2, which is great that they're stacked up. I'm sure at some point in my life I'll get back to playing the Death Stranding trilogy and I'll be thinking, why the hell didn't I play these sooner? It's going to be one when it hits like its 10th anniversary or something. I'll look back and think like, man, I wish I'd played that 10 years ago. As we've done so many times when we've gone back and played like Xbox titles and other things over the last couple of years. But I think there's that little voice in my head also saying Metal Gear Solid Delta's out in like a month and a half. And it's like, do I want too much Kojima almost? Because they're going to be so similar in terms of cinematics and... I don't know. It's so weird how, like, as gamers, we pick things and, like, I don't want to start that movie because it might link in with another movie or it might be too similar to another movie. But games are just so different because you sink, like, 50, 60, 70 hours into them. Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid Delta is out in a month.
Yeah. But in terms of the games reviews, as you said, it's sitting at 9 on Metacritic, 9 out of 10 on 90 out of 100. Across the board, I'm seeing just like praise and critical acclaim. So it's definitely going to be up there with lots of Game of the Year conversation. Just to pull out a few reviews for our listeners and viewers. Dextero gave it 100. They said, Death Stranding 2 is a phenomenal offering. It's amongst Kojima's very best work, not just for its narrative, but for the near limitless variability in its gameplay opportunities. Bit of like a Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain vibe is seemingly what I'm getting from there. Push Square gave it a 10 out of 10, 100 as well. In what will prove to be one of the defining games of the PlayStation 5 generation, Death Stranding 2 is a profound achievement of design, gameplay, narrative, and visuals. As all four meet in the middle, Kojima Productions has crafted a cinematic spectacle that flawlessly transitions between action and traversal, all wrapped up in the most absorbing of narratives. An immense upgrade on the first game, Death Stranding 2 is an unequivocal masterpiece.
I need to play
it.
We really... You know what? I think maybe... You know how we were talking about doing a stream, like a full series stream? Probably after I get back. Maybe that's Death Stranding.
We'll have to see how long to beat, because that could be a lot of us walking around talking.
It could be.
We'll let our audience decide. And then one more, just top one, to give you an idea of the overall gamut. VGC give it 100 as well. They said Death Stranding 2 on the Beach is an all-time great sequel and one of Hideo Kojima's best games, with a stunning world, greatly expanded gameplay and player choice, and one of Kojima's most compelling casts and narratives, which is saying a lot considering he did Metal Gear with so many amazing characters. It significantly improves on the original in virtually every way.
It's just getting hundreds out of hundreds all over the place. Everything from Enemy to the Times to every IGN outlet seems to be giving it 100.
A quick one from the Washington Post, because I know I listen to a couple of his podcasts as well. While I'm playing Death Stranding 2, I realise I'm witnessing Kojima and his studio, Kojima Productions, at the peak of their powers. It just seems like they're absolutely firing on all cylinders.
The Daily Star, it's possibly Hideo Kojima's magnum opus. It'll be a long, long time before I stop thinking about it.
Yeah, it's stuff like this which makes it good. You remember when we read the Expedition 33 reviews like a couple months back? We looked at it and went, I think did we both buy it during the podcast? I can't remember.
Yeah, we both
It was just like, we have to. It's like, these are the same type of reviews and critical acclaim that makes me as a gamer go like, I should be playing this.
Yeah, I need, as someone who predominantly plays narrative-driven single-player games, why the fuck am I not playing this?
Yeah. And it's purely just, I think, timing for us for this one.
Right now, for me, with Death Stranding, I would have literally hit install of Death Stranding 1 if it was PlayStation Plus Basic Bitch Edition, which is what I've got. But because it's extra, I don't have it, so I'd have to upgrade. But then you mentioned Metal Gear Solid Delta. I was like, by the time I finish Expedition 33, there's probably only a week or two, if that. Because I am going on holiday in less than a month again. So that's going to eat a bit of time. Then it's like, so there isn't actually a huge amount of time till like
Timefall. The reign's called Timefall. I think.
So it's like, I feel like Metal Gear Solid Delta is going to be probably my next big game after Expedition 33.
Yeah.
I feel like Death Stranding would be a bit too big to sandwich in between. So I might need something smaller. And then we're into probably September, October. And then I'm thinking about what's coming next.
Yeah. And then it's 2026.
I know. It's like, I do want to play Death Stranding because I need to know.
This is the part of the weekly show where our audience go, Chris and Richie is just like us, because I know most of our audience is like, they've got families, they've got partners, commitments, full-time jobs, and they just go like, yep, that's absolutely right. The joys of a gamer. The joys of a gamer. But overall, looks fantastic. Can't wait to get around to it. Let us know in the comments, I guess, if you have started. Let us know on our Discord server. If you're not part of the Discord server, the link's in the description. Head over, sign up to that. Where basically we talk about what we're playing, what we're not playing, everything in between, reviews, news, chatter. It's basically this show condensed down to 7 days a week of just chitter-chatter with fellow like-minded gamers. Yeah, with a lot more people. Not just us.
Not just us. FBC Firebreak, Chris, we've already talked a bit about it, but let's get into the reviews. Not doing great.
No, and this is where I think it comes back to what we said, where it's okay. So it's about 65 on Metacritic, which pretty much sits on a lot of website scales and review scales of okay. Not bad, not great, just okay, middle of the road. Let's pull some reviews out to give you an idea. Some of the top end ones, I guess GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10. Saying sometimes the game gets in its own way by not tutorializing key points, which I would echo that. I think you and me played the first level and were like, I think I'm supposed to do this, I think I'm supposed to do that. And even though there's a voice on the Tannoy system, Hank, who tells you things, because you're in the middle of avoiding 10, 12 enemies, getting to grips with your weapon type. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, Hank literally says, like, go turn this off, guys, go do that. And it's just like, I'm too busy.
To be fair to us, we were also streaming, so we were talking to each other while we're playing the game and talking to the audience. It's like, so like there's 100 extra things my brain's on rather than what Hank is saying.
But besides tutorializing things, like how best to deal with status effects and play roles dependently, but once you gain the institutional knowledge, FBC Firebreak is an enjoyable, chaotic power fantasy and an interesting experiment for Remedy between its bigger, weirder single-player projects.
Yeah,
so I'd say that's one.
I feel like two of the classes me and you just didn't quite figure out. The fireman
Not
class,
initially,
I think we were fine with. It was fairly self-explanatory. You have a big water cannon, it puts out fire. If you're on fire, it puts out fire.
Yeah, it's quite elemental.
Yeah. The other ones is like, I'm not quite sure how to use this zappy rod or this massive wrench. Yeah. Where do I use it?
Game Rant gave it a 6 out of 10. They said, Firebreak may be a bit of a wait-and-see situation. It doesn't feel like it has enough meat on the bone to justify £40 price tag, not to mention its paid battle passes, but it has the bones of a truly exceptional co-op game, and hopefully Remedy will get a chance to deliver it. So we should point out as well, this game is on Game Pass, and it's also on PlayStation Plus. Yeah. So in theory, you can play it probably without really paying the £40. I think very few people will be paying the $40 to play this. They did quote say on Twitter saying it's past 1 million players since launch, which it's a decent milestone to drag 1 million people in. But I do think a lot of them,
what's key is how many of them millions say, because as you said, it's on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. It is made by Remedy, so there's a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
What's going to be telling, I think, is what Game Rant's getting into is how many of these people are still playing in a week's time, a month's time. Because there might just be a lot of people giving it a go, then bouncing. Because I was reading a lot of the user comments earlier, and the general theme of it is there's a lot of people who are big fans of Remedy, a lot of people who are big fans of extraction shooters and Remedy, kind of being a bit disappointed that it was quite light on like lore building.
I mean, to paint a picture, Richie, we're sat here recording on Sunday, midday,
29th of June.
Currently on Steam. Bear in mind, it's not free on Steam, so it is a paid property.
Yeah.
82 players playing it right now, globally. 82. It had an all-time peak 12 days ago of 1,992.
So it suggests the lion's share of its players have come from PlayStation Plus and Game Pass, which could be to its benefit.
But at the same time, if it was paid on Xbox and PlayStation, Steam numbers do give us indication of how much interest it has.
And it feels like a PC gamer game.
Yeah, I mean, it does have crossplay. So there is that like at launch, which is great, because then that could ironically remedy a few of these issues. But games very rarely get a boost past launch. And I feel like if it's this week, even on Steam at launch... as a big Remedy fan, I think this is why. Well, we say it time and time again, don't we? Just the saturation of this type of game is like you're relying on getting a few friends together. You're relying on coming back to it, and ultimately, it's like we just waxed lyrical there about Death Stranding 2. How many people are going to go buy that and then sink 80 hours into it rather than playing Firebreak to no end because there's not really any story?
My worry with this game is, of the million people, how many of them played it because the fans of Remedy? Which gets you... I think that gets you in the door, but then as a basic games as a service style game...
Yeah.
The gameplay, that mechanical loop needs to be the thing that keeps you in. And that's what makes or breaks these games. It's not the initial wave of interest. It's how you manage to maintain them. And again, going back to some of the user reviews on Metacritic, there's quite a few people saying about 10 hours in and feel like they've done everything there is to do. Done every single mission on the highest difficulty. 10 hours in, and they're like, well, why continue playing? That's coming from people who are more likely to play these games than I am.
Yeah. And I can see that. Like IGN in theirs, they give it a 6 out of 10, said it's a compelling co-op shooter that, despite its good looks, doesn't have the depth to keep things interesting long term. And I think Remedy are like the kings of story. And I do think these shooters, these extraction shooters, these co-op shooters that come out, like Concord before it, and probably like Marathon and everything else, it's like, if you don't have the story in the world to back it up, or if you're not showcasing that in an interesting way, you just become another shooter. And it's like there's not enough. I don't think there's enough in Firebreak to make me like be interested in it. It's like, great, there's 4 walls, there's several types of weapons, and there's grenade gadgets, and there's this gadget, but ultimately when I put it down,
I feel like it could become that game because it has access to like that control Alan Wake lore. It just needs to utilize it a bit better. But I think there's other issues like the presentation. I think graphically it doesn't look great. I was playing on Series S, but even on the trailers, I never thought it looked great. Like graphically,
we should point
compared to how good Control or Alan Wake 2 looks, there's a very noticeable several steps down in quality.
Yeah, we should point out this is a first-person shooter, which Remedy don't do. So the Northlight engine, this is its first proper crack at doing a first-person shooter. Not that it should impede the graphics that much, but it's like the different mechanics and stuff. But you know what?
The gunplay felt great, but maybe that's just the early guns. It might feel better as you go. Yeah. But I think of if you think of playing first-person shooter like Destiny or Call of Duty, how good the gunplay feels. That's been the standard for a long time. I think it falls a bit short. Oddly enough, I think people should give it a go.
Yeah, I think they should.
Accessible because of PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass, and it is fun. I had fun playing it.
Yeah, same. Back to the story beat. The one thing that always gets me with this is it's a brand new game, never played it before, multiplayer, online, crossplay, all that jazz. And the game starts off by going, FBC Firebreak, here's your menu. There was absolutely no hook to tell us about what's going on at the oldest house, nothing at all.
Using the law it has at
it was just like, here's a menu, go play. And that's such a bad way to start a game. In my head, if I was the game director, I've got the Remedy world, right? Open up with the shot of the oldest house, do a quick cut to inside. Some things are on fire, somebody's screaming, then there's a report coming through of the tannoy going, alert, lockdown in area 36. We need people on staff. You see boots running past the camera, just stamping, and then like the elevator doors are about to open. All the soldiers are lined up, or the 3 Firebreak crew are lined up with the elevator doors ready to go. And then it opens and something attacks the camera and you cut to black and it goes FBC Firebreak. And then when you get to the menu, it says, like, crew, we need to get down to Area 36 and we need to clean up the Hiss invasion or something. You know, just like something tangible as an audience member to go like, you know what? There's something curious about this world. I want to know more. Or I want to help out. Like, that's the reality. Like Helldivers, as an example, swept the world by storm. That literally starts off with the guy saying, it's a very like tongue-in-cheek Starship Troopers where it's like, if you want to save the world and your family, join the Helldivers today. And then a bug comes into the screen and kills the woman and child who are next to him. And he goes, oh my God. And then it cuts to a military propaganda speech going, join the Helldivers, save Super Earth. It has dramatic music. It shows cinematics of hell pods coming down. It shows some of the alien planets. And then it goes, Helldivers 2. And that's it. That's the only cinematic they've done for the entire game in a year and a half. And yet it's enough of a hook for me to go, fuck yeah, I want to be a Helldiver. Let's go.
They're doing, with Helldivers, they're doing a lot of the stuff in social media to kind of get that going because it is such a social game. I know what you mean. It's like, it feels like, why not have the game so you can run around the oldest house in your crew when you're not in a mission? And instead of going to a menu to do your research, which is your kind of upgrades, you go to a table in there, and to get missions, you talk to a person who briefs you on what you need to do before you jump in. Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. And we used to see it a lot in, I'd say, like older games where, like, you have that little hub. Yeah, you have your hub base.
You got your hub base, and then you go out into the world.
You can customize your break room. So any little collectibles you get out in the world, you can put on a poster board or something, but like, this is my little room. And it just, it comes back to it, like, even Remedy socials, it just says, Firebreak out now. Let us know your impressions. We're hard at work on the next patch. There's no, like...
It doesn't feel like they're passionate about this game in the way they always were with things like Alan Wake.
It's the storytelling element, isn't it? It's like you need your story to go beyond the game and become part of the real world. And I think Helldivers is a great side-by-side example because they are both team extraction shooters, one third person, one first person. You have a various bunch of weapons, you have a various bunch of enemies, and you have to complete little tasks within the game, which is exactly what you do in Helldivers. You set up a satellite, you set up a rocket, whilst you're under attack by waves of enemies, and then you have to extract and get out of there. The difference is one of them's had a massive swell of nearly 500,000 people playing it. This has got 82 currently playing it.
Yeah, I feel like as well, in the first few hours of the game, so what we've basically played, I don't think it presented itself that great in terms of the locations. Like, so you're playing in the oldest house, and as far as we can tell, we went into like an industrial basement where we put out some fires, and then we went through an office where we got attacked by post-it notes. It feels like they could have went weirder in the opening missions.
I mean, back to your point of that little headquarters. Imagine if you and your other two team members had to go line up at the elevator. It took you in. It showed you a little visual of the oldest house moving around, and then the elevator moves down to whatever level, and then the doors open. Like, all right, this is the office floor. This is the basement level. This is the industrial stuff. It's just some kind of visuals to make you as a player or a visual audience member piece together what you're doing and why you're doing it and why you should care. And I think just going from menu to menu to menu, why would your brain link that to a story or an enemy or a threat or an objective that you should care about? And I think that's where it struggles.
It needs to... This is going to sound sacrilegious. It needs to take a leaf out of Marvel's Avengers book.
Yeah.
When you were running around the helicarrier as your thing, and then you were doing a few small bits in the helicarrier, prepping to drop into the mission. I mean, the problem with Marvel's Avengers, when you dropped into the mission, they were boring. And I think FBC Firebreak's missions are actually more have the potential to be a lot more interesting. I think mechanically it works a bit better as well. Mm-hmm. But it's lacking the narrative, and I think having that home base does give you a lot.
Yeah. But again, how much of that was maybe in their pipeline, and then they've cut it out for time and money and effort, and it's like, well, just ship the game. Yeah. And here we are. But like you said, I think we both enjoyed it, but we won't be going back anytime soon, so then what about everyone else?
That's it. It's games like this, I kind of hope when I jump in, I go, oh, you know what? I actually really had a good time. I want to play that again at some point. I probably would never get round to it, but kind of like I could walk away going, I could see why that a lot of people would love to play that.
Yeah.
I think it's fun in a very casual way. So I could see occasionally I'll just jump on like a co-op game with my brother or something. Never anything too serious. It's something like that could be a bit of fun. Where neither is taking it too serious. It's an evening.
But this is where the oversaturation comes into. It's like if you're, 23, 24, you've got all night ahead of you. It's like, do I go back to Apex where I'm level 78 and I've got 200 plus hours of achievements and leveled up and loot and gear and skins? Or do I start Firebreak where I've put 3 hours into it, I had fun, but that's why it's such a pull.
I'm glad they've announced kind of 2 big patches coming this year because I can see the potential in it. If they start using that Remedyverse to its full extent as an extraction shooter, they could be on something really good. At the moment, it's a 6 out of 10, really, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. It's not terrible in any stretch of the imagination. It just doesn't really do anything particularly amazing. Yeah,
I mean, if we sit here next week, say we did our live stream this week as Rematch, which is another game that's just dropped on Game Pass for free, and we get to next weekend recording and go, I would rather go play Rematch, then FBC is lost out. Within a week, it's lost out to another game, and that's a problem.
My worry as well with games as a service stuff in general is the market is so saturated. A lot of people have that game they play, or maybe 2 or 3 games that they play and bounce between them based on what patches come out, what new content drops. That I feel like the markets are pretty much at 100% saturation. So your job, if you're a new game, is to take some of them players over to you, which they did for a week because they got that 1 million. That's good. That is good. That's fantastic news to get that 1 million. But now they're down to 82 on Steam, which suggests that everyone's jumped, give it a go, then went back to what they were playing.
Maybe Rematch will fare better.
Yeah, because the reviews are in for Rematch, and it's currently sitting at a 72 on Metacritic. But I feel generally it just is being received a bit more positively.
Oh, it's 76 on Metacritic. But that might be on the PC version. I don't know if it does.
The PC's 72. I was looking at PS5. PC is 76, PS5 is 72, and Xbox is 74. 74.
So yeah, for those who don't know, Rematch, it's essentially it's the dev team who made Sifu, the really frenetic combat game where you're some kind of it's not samurai, it's just like a badass John Wick style character going through very linear levels, and every time you die you age. Won loads of Game of the Year nods, loads of awards for like best fighting game of that year and such. And then the studio pivoted, and the next game they brought out with is a frenetic third person football game, almost like FIFA Street. But yeah, it said it's reviewing quite well. PC Gamer gave it an 86. They said a heart-pumping genre superlative that should not be missed despite some technical issues to sort out. Game Reactor gave it a 8 out of 10, said Rematch is a very good game. It's the game I've wanted for so many years, and I'm overjoyed that it's finally here. It's both fun to watch and fun to play, and I hope Slow Clap, which is the developers, succeed in seemingly impossible task of convincing players to pay for something that in many ways looks like a free-to-play title. To give you like another okay one, I guess.
I'm reading from Rock Paper Shotgun. They haven't given it a score, but what they've said is it's telling that the missing feature I desire the most is not an emote or graphics setting or mandatory pass, but just some way to auto rematch, so I don't have to tap Y at the end of every game within a 10-second countdown to re-enter queue for another game. This is how Moorish and perfectly named Rematch is. My biggest complaint is that I'm sick of the game asking, do you want to play again? Of course I do.
That's good. GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10. They said, with missing features, server issues, and some gameplay quirks need to be ironed out, Rematch feels like an early access game. Its foundations are strong, though, capturing the chaotic energy of playing football with your school pals. It's disorganized at times. People you're playing with might get frustrating. Sounds like Monday night with us, Richie.
Yeah,
but there are very few moments when you're not having fun. It's a kind of a football game, but it's intuitive, and it'll allure you to improve your skill level. Is quite captivating. If Slowcap can stand off the rough edges, Rematch could be something special, but even in its current state, saying no to one more match is a challenging proposition. It sounds like it's Rocket League, but with the FIFA. Remember, we used to do FIFA Pro mode where you'd play as one individual.
Yeah.
And you'd have that, but it seems like it's got a bit more zip to it because of the nature of it only being 5-a-side, so it's quite a condensed.
That's probably what they've done. They've looked at the Pro mode and FIFA where it's like, well, no one wants to play as a centre-back in the game like that because there's a lot of stand there and waiting, hopefully, if your team's good.
Yeah.
But by moving it to 5-a-side, every player's a bit more involved in the action.
Yeah, you are by nature. Even the goalkeeper in 5-a-side, because the pitch is so short,
yeah,
you are naturally just involved in the bulk of it.
5-a-side is harder. We usually play 7 or 8-a-side, and 5-a-side I think is genuinely harder because of the tempo of the game.
Yeah, and I think everything we've critiqued FBC for, the big difference with Rematch, it's football, it's soccer, it's got inherently a user base of people who will see it and go, I like FIFA, I like football, this looks like Rocket League, but it just has more, I think, on its bones that are inherent to most people, casual gamers' lives, where they could see it and go, you know what? I only really play FIFA and Call of Duty, but there's something about this which I think would hook people in, because the concept's simple, right? It's football. You know the rules already. You shoot a goal and you score. Just
it's
like
why Rocket League. Yeah, Rocket League did so well
good.
because you kind of fundamentally already knew the rules, but now you're in a car. So then it's learning about the physics of the ball, but you still know you've got to get that ball into the opposition's goal.
Yeah. Side note, by the way, next week, 7th of July, Rocket League is 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 10th anniversary of Rocket League. And you know what? You could still pick it up right now, and it would be fun. And you could play it for an hour or so with your friends, and you wouldn't even bat an eyelid.
What, 7th of July, did you say?
Yeah.
Maybe our live stream on the 10th should be Rocket League.
That could be a good shout, that, actually. Again, back to what I've just said. I enjoy Rocket League, and you suggesting it, my brain just goes, yeah, I'll have fun for an hour and a bit.
Yeah, we'll have fun for a few hours on stream.
I could be down for that. Let us know in the comments if you fancy some Rocket. We've never done it on the channel in 5-6 years. We've never played Rocket League. But yeah, who doesn't love Rocket League? It's what was the predecessor to Rocket League called? It was rocket powered super something battle cars. It had like a ridiculously long name. I'll find it while you wax lyrical about Rocket League.
Yeah, so I was never good at Rocket League, but it is just fun because who doesn't want to play football, 5-a-side football in a car? But then you can go up the side, you can ride up the sides. You can probably do a full loop of the thing. You got boosters, so you can do jump shots if you're good, which I'm not.
That was it. I've got it, Richie. So same developer, Psyonix. 2008 this one was released, so this was a couple of years before. So Rocket League is the titled sequel, and I'm so glad they shortened the name to Rocket League because it makes so much more sense. The original was called Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars.
Nice.
It's cool name, but it's also way too long. Came out on the PS3, and I don't remember
PlayStation Plus Day 1,
all.
wasn't it?
Rocket League was, yeah. That's why I think everyone played it. This is where, back to FBC Firebreak, this is where the PlayStation Plus / Game Pass model could do really well, but it needs that swell of success. Whereas Rocket League came out and everyone was playing and talking about. All of our mates were talking about. We were playing at house parties, if you remember.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
We've played at my house and stuff.
That's how
like
cool we are.
Before we get on to like the proper drinking, it was like, right, a couple of lads are here. Have you played Rocket League? Yeah, let's get on it. And then even our mates, like we have a friend, Andy, who's predominantly plays like FIFA for the most part. Stick a controller in his hand. This is go. This is boost. There's your goals. Like you said, within 2-3 minutes, everyone knows what they're doing, and you're having fun. You know you need to score more than the opposition to win. Go, and it works.
I've just remembered the kickoffs where you both just go flying towards each other.
Yeah. Flip out, do tricks, bash into each other.
Do you remember when Top Gear used to do like the random sports
in
cars?
That's what it
Rocket
is.
League,
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some shitty mobile Top Gear game out there that tries to replicate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're completely right. And you know one thing Rocket League did really well, sorry, as a big side note, praising Rocket League, skins. Like, I genuinely bought skins because there's so, like, tying amazing vehicles of like movie and TV cinematic history to this game was the best thing. I have the Ghostbusters car. I have the Batman 89 vehicle. I have the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Because you look at it and go, that just fucking works. The DeLorean has flames that come out when you use your boost instead of the traditional Rocket League ones. It's like, come on.
Was Rocket League kind of the first game to really popularise third-party IP skins? Because skins have been in games for a long time, but taking third-party IP and putting them into the game, because obviously it's what Fortnite does so well nowadays, and it works for Fortnite. Was Rocket League the first to kind of popularise it to that level?
Quite possibly, because Fortnite didn't come out until 2017, so it had a 2-year run on Fortnite, which seems mad to say out loud. Yeah. But I think you're right. Like, yeah, I have the Jurassic.
Yeah, I can't think of a game that came before Rocket League that did it as well.
Yeah, you might get like the odd nod of something like a Batman, a Batarang in a character or something, but this was like.
This is one for the Discord, isn't it? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good conversation to be had, and but just the way they incorporate it lands like. So I have I have the Jurassic Park Jeeps as well as a skin, just like the ones from the first movie. But then to a point where when you score a goal, the goal explodes with like just paint or light.
Yeah.
If you have the Jurassic Park skin, it explodes, but it's a holographic of a T-Rex and it roars when the goal explodes. So it's like there's little things they've took and thought like, right, we can't obviously have a dinosaur as a vehicle yet, but we can incorporate the movie themes and the sound effects into the game so well. And I think the skins are like, what, a couple of quid, if that. And I've bought maybe 7 or 8 of them. I have the Platinum in Rocket League actually as well. But what are we talking about? Rematch.
Yeah, Rematch. Yeah. I think that kind of shows, like how much we're waxing lyrical about Rocket League, where Rematch could become. It doesn't seem like it's quite there yet, but even a lot of like user reviews I'm reading mention Rocket League.
Yeah. Which again, it's the premise of football, right? And if they get it right, if they get a couple of things lined up, like what's the World Cup next year?
Yeah, well,
if Rematch is
England just won the under-21 Euros last night.
Yeah, we did last night. Do you not watch it?
I was in the pub.
All right, that's fair enough. Not watching it in the pub?
I did actually watch a bit of it in the pub, but then we moved on when the next pub didn't have TVs. So. Yeah.
Thought we were going to throw it away when we were 2-0 up, but then they got back into it. It was like, here we go. But then, we ended up winning. So shout out to our young Lions. 3-2, beat Germany in the final, which very rarely happens. But yeah, in terms of that, like you've got a World Cup coming next summer. So if you're at Rematch Studios, you got to line up with some kind of like, do you get international skins in? Do you get 1 or 2 players? Do you get some kind of licensing deal just to put a coat of paint on Rematch for a year's time when you'd like to think they've ironed out all of their bugs and server issues? And just go big and go like, look, it's football season. The entire planet is talking about football. Where's the hook? Where are you going to get them? And
you want to get involved in that, don't you?
That should be a roadmap that them devs are working towards right now. Because you've got a year's time to get shit done. But yeah, if it's reviewing good at this stage, Rematch, it's weird how you look at some games and just think like Firebreak may not be around in a year or so. Rematch could just go from strength to strength. Like now you've got those core foundations down, there's nothing to say it can't go on.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't do with the Club World Cup. Because that feels at the moment, because FIFA are pushing it very, very hard.
Oh, too much.
Gettable for a game like Rematch.
Yeah. It might have soured Rematch, unfortunately, though.
I don't know.
Taken away from it.
I think it's a completely pointless tournament, but I have kind of warmed to it a bit as the tournament's going on. It's a glorified friendly tournament for me still, though, and it's designed to satisfy FIFA's egos because they're worried about the Champions League. And to be honest, I feel a bit sorry for the players who probably should be having a rest before the next season instead of playing a full tournament again. But
I don't even know what stage you're up to now. Who's left in it? Who's playing who?
It's like the round of 16 or something.
It seems like it's going on a lot longer than I anticipated it to be.
Because it's basically the same format as the World Cup. So it's on for like a month or 2. But I feel like there's too many teams in it. I don't think there should be 4 English teams in there. I think there should be 1. There should be 1 German team, 1 French team, Like just the winners of all the tournaments and in the different countries. That should be your pool.
Yeah, it's back to that thing, isn't it? Where it's like you don't know how serious some of them are taking it. And so, I mean, it's I'm curious from it because it's showcasing like the levels of where people are at, but then it's like
Brazil doing very well, Brazilian teams.
But then how much of it is like the European teams aren't really taking it seriously because they're tired after a long season. They've got pre-season coming up in a couple of weeks' time. They're leaving out a lot of their main stars for the most part, and they've got there's so many weird, without going off on a tangent too much. There's like some weird things like some players like Thomas Muller's retired from Bayern Munich, but he's playing for them.
Yeah.
And then you've got is it not Sane, one of the other players who's
he's
already signed for but he's still playing for Bayern Munich for like 1-2 more games, and it's like, what is going on here? It's like it's like hanging out with your mates.
Technically, I think traditionally the contracts run from July to start in July.
July 1st, yeah.
So there's probably been an extension for like Sane to play the full tournament.
Yeah. And then there's Chelsea are signing players who they're actively playing in this tournament, but can't play for Chelsea because they're already in the tournament.
Yeah.
So they now play for the opposition team. It's so weird.
Real Madrid paid $10 million to get Trent Alexander-Arnold a month early so he could play in this tournament. I don't think I would have paid that $10 million. Sod that. I'm not like, well, it's 10 million euros. Sorry. It's like, why? Just go with what you've got.
Either way.
Yeah.
Into Miami beat Porto 2-1. Shout out to the MLS.
Yeah.
But why are they in it? Who knows? Shout out to Auckland as well. The New Zealand team, Auckland FC. There was I think it was like a part-time teacher scored like an equalising goal or something the other day, and it was like, it's almost like it's got kind of a little bit of FA Cup magic where it's like such crazy mad underdogs playing giants. But then didn't Bayern Munich win like 8-0, 10-0 the other day? And it's like, okay, this is the bad side of it.
I feel like it should just be all the associations like associated with FIFA, the winner of their leagues. That's it. That's your tournament pool.
Yeah.
So yes, you're going to get some absolutely shit teams, and you're also going to get some of the best teams in the world. And it's literally the winners of all the leagues.
Yeah.
But I just find it weird when you got like 4 Spanish teams, 4 English teams. It seems a bit much. But anyway, PlayStation Plus, Chris, turns 15 years old now.
It turns 15 years.
Yeah, and they're celebrating by giving out monthly games, which we have Diablo 4, King of Fighters 15, and Jusant. Which has only just come out a few months ago, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Diablo 4 is not that old, right? It was last year. I think last year. Was last year Baldur's... No, it was the year before. Baldur's Gate and Diablo 4 were the same year, right?
I'm not sure, actually.
Must have been 2 years ago.
Diablo 4 was 2023, yeah. 1st of June 2023.
Right, so it's not that new. But I've never played Diablo.
Yeah. Jusant was apparently end of 31st of October 2023. I thought it was newer than that.
New?
I genuinely thought it was like a few months ago. Oops.
Yeah, the celebrations are a bit... I mean, it's one thing. It's like, do you really need to celebrate it? I know in the blog they go on to say, like, they talk about discounts off game trials and
PlayStation tournaments
and packs. It's like, no one really cares.
Yeah. So
stop trying to sell me Sony Pictures Core.
You've got... Oh, God, Sony Pictures Core is terrible. Me and Nat have just watched all the Spider-Man films, so we thought, let's check out Sony Pictures Core. Surely they will be free on there, because we've got PlayStation Plus Premium. No, they're not. That's the problem. No. Like, there's no reason to look at, because you've got a Sony first-party property, not even free as part of your PlayStation Plus membership. So then you have to still rent it anyway. It's like... But then we say, well, why would we rent it on Sony Pictures Core, which means we're locked into watching it on the PlayStation, when we could do the same on Amazon Prime, or I think it was Amazon Prime, where we could then watch it in bed as well, where we don't have a PlayStation. So it's like, it's more restrictive. So, and it was the same price.
Well, speaking of that, then I guess a side note, we didn't really touch on it last week, but there are reports that Sony is interested in buying assets from Warner Brothers. So part of it was like because if you remember, they looked at Paramount, I think, initially as well, but then I think Paramount's not one of the biggest ones. I think they're looking to purchase things like HBO, and I think the conversation last week was some of the gaming assets. So Warner Brothers announced on June the 9th that they were splitting their company into separate entities. There's Warner Brothers Streaming Studios and Warner Brothers Global Networks, which in that split, which is going to be completed by next summer, and that's going to see their companies a little bit more linear. So you've got like TNT Sports, CNN, Discovery under the global networks, streaming studios, HBO, and video games, and production studios. That sounds like you're separating it perfectly for Sony.
Yeah.
If you want HBO Max, where The Last of Us is, and premium TV, which is what Sony want to get. Because let's face it, Sony are behind Netflix and Disney Plus and stuff now, and Amazon. But they are in the entertainment world. They're probably one of the biggest players in the entertainment world not to have a world-renowned streaming service. You split your department off, so Sony don't want the sports. Like, they don't want anything to do with that. But HBO Max, the gaming divisions, so you're talking like Rocksteady, NetherRealm, everything we've actually spoke about before, of like a lot of games that seemingly look like PlayStation first party, third-person story player games.
Harry Potter,
yeah. Hogwarts Legacy is a PlayStation game through and through, bar the Harry Potter IP. And then the production studios, which Sony already has a fully functioning, it's one of the biggest production studios in the world, absorbing that in, but like you said, taking IP like Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and DC, that would mean Sony own DC.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man. So I wonder at what point Sony have to sell Spider-Man to Marvel. Like, you know, they have to make a movie. They have to make a movie every other year, I think, to keep the license.
I think
which means we're going to get Madam Web, Morbius, Venom, the Aunt May spin-off movie.
Yeah.
But
Aunt May versus Uncle Ben. The early years.
Yeah. Somehow they end up being Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. That's the origin story. Aunt May and Uncle Ben ended up being Sub-Zero. Who's the other one?
Scorpion.
Sub-Zero. Scorpion, yeah. That's Aunt May and Uncle Ben. That's them too.
When they were younger.
Yeah, when they were younger. They were bit by a radioactive fireball and ice ball and turned into those two characters. We've wrote it for them right there. But all things said and done full circle, I think Sony Pictures Core is not long for this world, and I'm glad it's not. But I do think...
Because no one knows it exists.
Yeah. But I do think Warner Brothers have shit the bed in terms of games recently, and one of the last good things they've got really going for them is HBO, and if they're consolidating, and it's the fact that they are willing to split their business into two, you've got to read between the lines on that and go, well, why would you do that if you aren't prepping yourself?
What do we want to sell and what do we want to keep?
It's asset stripping, right?
Yeah.
It's who did it recently, where they moved all of their eggs into one basket, and it was like...
Sometimes
we covered it.
You can split as a business your different strands into different things where I go, you know what, this one's weighing us down, so we're going to put that over the side, so if it goes under, it doesn't pull the rest of the shit.
Ubisoft did it, didn't they? They put Assassin's Creed and a couple of other ones into one basket, and then we were like, what about the crew? What about... And there's like the poor games that were just left on the side. And then it was Tencent who came in and bought shares in this and that. I can't remember what it all was now.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I could see us sitting here this time next summer saying Sony have completed their acquisition of Warner Brothers division, whatever this is.
It'd be a massive deal. The problem with WB is not necessarily the IP. They've got some very strong IP. It's how they use them.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo.
In the games sphere, they've typically in recent years not used them well. Do you remember even after Hogwarts Legacy came out, they were still doubling down on games as a service, even though at that time every single games as a service attempt had basically failed, and the only real success in a long time since literally since Shadow of War was Hogwarts Legacy. And even Shadow of War was under controversy, so it was probably Shadow of Mordor was the last success. So it's like, you make a narrative single-player game, we're using that that IP that you have that is beloved, and people buy your games. You make a crappy games as a service thing using your IP that is just feels like slapped together by committee, and no one gives a shit about it.
Would they get Lord of the Rings as well?
Don't think so. Isn't that now with Amazon?
No, that's the TV book stuff, but I think the WB Peter Jackson stuff is owned by them.
I don't know. Lord of the Rings rights are complicated, but...
Well, Embracer kind of owns them as well now.
Yeah,
I can't remember which bit.
I think the rights are complicated, but it's... I think there's a lot of like IP that could do well under Sony. Imagine if Insomniac, after doing like Spider-Man and Wolverine, moved on to Batman.
But they're doing X-Men. So
yeah, true. But you're giving like Sony that kind of caliber of IP.
Yeah, interesting times ahead. I think they'll do it. But to what end, we'll see.
Indeed. So PlayStation Plus 15th year anniversary celebrations. For premium members, you get a game trial of WWE 2K25, a game trial for Monster Hunter Wilds, PlayStation exclusive offer weekend, which is June the 27th to the 29th. So that is over. Valorant stuff. So if you're interested in Valorant, you get some stuff.
Pretty
PlayStation tournaments, which start on the 28th of June. It's not much of a celebration, to be honest. Yeah, it's weak. Let's move on to what is also weak sauce, Marathon. It's being delayed, Chris.
No,
indefinitely.
No. Yeah, we should have covered this last week, I think, or the week before. I can't remember when the news came out, but we didn't get around to it. It's the right decision for me. I think all the criticisms we've just harboured on FBC Firebreak sit the same with this. It just feels like nobody cares, and I think it was due out. What was its original date? It was like August, right?
23rd of September.
So these will give plenty of notice to kind of get around it. But yeah, Bungie's announced the indefinite delay, so they've not even put like a 2026 or a new date on it. The live service extraction shooter, citing the community's passionate feedback following its reveal and subsequent playtest. Bungie formally unveiled Marathon Reboot in May 2023, but the response wasn't one of immediate enthusiasm, given the decision to ditch the classic Marathon series single-player focus in favour of PvP, and the reboot has largely remained in the news for all the wrong reasons since. Leadership changes, substantial legal challenges, ongoing reports of staff declining morale, accusations of toxicity aimed at Bungie's management team. It's been fully embroiled in plagiarism scandals, from stealing assets to using AI. And then we had April's big reveal at a PlayStation State of Play, which tried to shift the narrative to something a bit more positive, but reactions weren't great. They drew a lot of comparisons to Concord, which is never a good start.
Yeah.
And then they did the alpha playtest last month, which also generated a little bit of negative criticism, which they addressed in the kind of blog post. And they said, thank you not only for your passionate feedback around Marathon's reveal in the alpha playtest, but also for your patience while we take the time to listen closely and chat our next steps. Though every comment and real-time conversation on social media and Discord, your voice has been strong and clear. We've taken this to heart, and we know we need to craft a Marathon into the game that truly reflects your passion. Those, Richie, to me sound like words of a team that don't really know what to do with Marathon anymore. And this comes back to everything we said about Firebreak, is like, it doesn't feel like it has a story attached to it. It's just, he's a PvP extraction shooter with lots of neon colours, and I'm sure the gunplay is going to be sound because Bungie and they're the best in class at it. But whereas Destiny had this whole world of planets and other races and looming warfare, and it just had narrative from the get-go to pull you in. That remember the big orb and the big ball and your HQ, and I feel like Marathon is set to be a game like Firebreak, where it's going to be a couple of jazzy menus, lots of skins and weapon combinations.
Definitely
and then you
fun
drop
to be had, but there again, the alpha test, the gameplay test, seems like it came out passionately negative. So the people who are probably most interested in the game have walked away disappointed. On the gameplay front, that's not great. I don't know what else you can take from that. It does feel like they're so deep in development, and when people don't like the game,
they quoted saying their immediate focus is on the below things: upping the survival game, more challenging and engaging AI encounters, more rewarding runs with new types of loot and dynamic events, making combat more tense and strategic. Then it says doubling down on the Marathon universe, increased visual fidelity, more narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with, a darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original story, and then finally adding more social experiences, a better experience for solos or duo groups, and a Pro X chat so social stories can come to life. Don't know what that last one is, but overall, it sounds like it's the game doesn't seem as maybe difficult as you want it to be, which we harbored on Firebreaks, and we didn't really feel like we were under that much pressure at times. And then the doubling down on the universe, more narrative and environmental storytelling, like it should have that to begin with. Otherwise, why would I care?
Yeah.
Why would I care if I don't care about the characters or the world or the looming threat to humanity? Why would I care?
You need to balance the law of the world you're fighting in with the mechanics of the actual fight as well to keep that going. Like, oddly enough, Fortnite does it incredibly well by just bringing in third-party IP and content drops. But it does have the narrative of its own world and just syncs everything up perfectly. And it's something like Marathon, that's what the problem with Concord was. It seemed a perfectly serviceable extraction shooter that no one cared about at all.
And they did try with story and narrative because you had the little CGI cutscenes, didn't they?
It just all felt generic as hell, though, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying it for a while, but I think Marathon's doomed to fail.
Yeah.
And I think they'll go back and do Destiny 3, which they should have probably done all along.
Yeah. I just can't see it go at this point so close to launch and going, we need to stop and have a big rethink.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they say they're doubling down on things like making the difficulty curve a bit better, more engaging AI encounters, stuff like that. It feels like there's a lot more.
It's too little, too late already.
Reading between the lines,
right.
It feels like there's bigger problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's probably just getting it, instead of it being the next blockbuster game from Bungie that is going to look at winning games of the year for multiplayer games. It's now just pitching at getting a competent game out there that will last a few years.
Yeah. If that.
Talking about games that lasted a few years, Chris, Little Nightmares 3's got an October release date, and they're bringing out an enhanced edition of the original.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I think price depending and time depending. I love myself a little bit of Little Nightmares. We've got playthroughs up on the channel of both 1 and 2. They're just fun. If you like Inside and you like Limbo, it's that, but with a Tim Burton skin over it, really. And more like, it tells a story, but it doesn't really tell the story. It is just a fun little side-scrolling puzzle game that has a tinge of horror to it, and it's quirky. And I think Little Nightmares is a fantastic franchise, and it's nice to see that even though they've changed developers, I think it's Tarsier Studios, who do it now. More of this. Can't wait to see it. Enhanced edition for the first one. I think visually they all hold up quite well because of the Tim Burton art style that I mentioned. I don't think they age poorly at all. No. But yeah, if you pre-order it, you get the enhanced version, I think, now.
Yeah, I think it's out now.
And there's a VR version as well called Little Nightmares Altered Echoes that's also in development. And there's a TV show that was announced back in 2017, so who knows what that is. But more Little Nightmares. What are your thoughts on it?
In middle of the honor, I think it's good. We've been waiting for the release date for a little while now, so I'm glad we get it. I think the pre-order bonus of the enhanced version is quite nice. It's a nice little thing extra. Switch 2 does get the enhanced edition, but doesn't come till October. So I'm guessing they're still working on developing that for Switch 2. Yeah. But no, it's good. This is all good news. I don't have much more really to say. It's two fantastic games in the series so far. Third one, I'd expect basically more of the same. Yeah.
And they're not too long as well. You can finish them in like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
If that. You just kind of like dip in and have fun.
And if you don't have time to play yourself, as you mentioned, Chris, we have full playthroughs of 1 and 2 on the channel already.
Go check them out.
Indeed. But you know what you can check out as well, Chris? First party PlayStation games on your Xbox through the Xbox PC app. So would you like to play Spider-Man 2 on a ROG Ally? Because you can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one, but I think this is more in the news because the internet's been kind of kicking off a little bit. around the thought of like, oh my god, I can play PlayStation exclusives, or not PlayStation, I can play PlayStation titles on Xbox hardware, and it's going back to that weird narrative that people tend to be making around like, let the console wars go, they're not a thing.
Yeah.
You're all adults, just play wherever makes you the happiest, right?
We all win from every console succeeding.
Yeah, and saying like, yeah, you can play Spider-Man and Ragnarok and Days Gone because you can buy them through Steam and launch them via the Xbox PC app.
Yeah.
And so technically, yeah, they're running on Xbox hardware, but it's like, great, go have fun. Yeah. It's restricted, I think, to beta testers at the moment, who are in the Xbox Insider Initiative, but it's going to roll out for everybody. And yes, it's going to be weird seeing the PlayStation Studios startup screen on Xbox, just like it's weird playing all these bloody games now, like Indiana Jones, and seeing Microsoft Studios come up front and center. But guess what? It's 2025, and the games industry is very different now, so it's good to see. Yeah. And I'd like to see them come to Switch 2 so I can use my Switch 2 more than just playing Mario Kart.
Goes back to the motto of the channel, play wherever makes you the happiest.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, being able to play everything wherever you want to is good.
Very good.
Yeah, indeed.
Play it on VR, maybe.
Yeah, we have more Microsoft news because Microsoft is dipping its toes into VR with a limited edition Xbox-themed MetaQuest headset. So, paint your MetaQuest green, basically.
This is an Xbox for your face.
Now, he's basically, an Xbox for your face. The interesting thing, though, is, because this is the MetaQuest 3S Xbox edition that's been announced for £379.99. Is there any Xbox games that actually are VR?
No, they don't. They haven't dabbled in it at all, have they? So this is the nearest you can get.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. It's like, what's the point of this? It's a third-party deal that they've got with MetaQuest.
Yeah.
But what's the point if there's no Xbox titles, or there's no titles in the Xbox ecosystem that are VR?
Well, it goes back to the way the MetaQuest really works. Is it when you put the VR headset on, the game isn't really in VR. It puts you in like a virtual cinema inside the headset. So you just have a screen in front of you that is just replicating what you would see on a television. So essentially, every game is playable. It just means instead of sitting and watching a TV on the couch, you are in that kind of darkened world, like fully immersed in it. So first-person games, I guess, any Bethesda game, Indiana Jones, Doom, you've got your two meta handsets, your little two sticks, and yeah, as long as you can kind of get over the kind of motion sickness element of VR, you've got a shit ton of games that you can play that aren't available on traditional VR. So in theory, you've got more if you can get past them maybe not being VR specific. Like you could go play Oblivion Remastered right now with Game Pass with this headset on. Just sit on a 9-hour flight to America and blast your way through there.
Do you think this could be the start of Microsoft dabbling in VR? Because it's something that's not been a priority for them. But if the hardware is being handled third party, then all they need to do is handle the software. But some games, you mentioned Oblivion, Skyrim has a VR version.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think we could see a port of the VR version of Skyrim into the Xbox ecosystem to go alongside this? And that's how they could pad out the library a bit. So it's not just fake TV VR. It's real VR.
I think they could, but I think if Microsoft, in terms of where they like to usually blow all the money and spend it all, I think looking at the VR landscape, I think they've been, in a weird way, it's been one of their best decisions to not get involved. Yeah. You've seen Sony just utterly shit the bed with PSVR 2. We've had, Horizon? That's it. No more output from first party.
Well,
and
Phil Spencer...
It's died a death.
Phil Spencer said back in 2019, I have some issues with VR. It's isolating. I think of games as communal, kind of together experience. We're responding to what our customers have asked for, and nobody's asking for VR.
And he's not wrong.
Yeah. Again, but this is why I'm leaning towards stuff that already exists, the likes of a Skyrim VR, getting that into the Xbox ecosystem, which shouldn't be overly complicated. Yeah. So they can get that running, so you can start getting some Microsoft first-party VR stuff.
It's all optimization, isn't it? And I think doing this partnership is the probably easiest financially to make, because as Phil quoted again, nobody's selling millions and millions of VR units. So where do you spend your focus? I think if it takes devs time to do it, like, it looks cool, like the branding looks smart, and including 3 months Game Pass when you buy ones. Again, back to the Game Pass marketing deal. But yeah, I don't know. My interest in VR has cooled so much. Like, I absolutely adored my original PSVR 1. I've dabbled in it over the years in various awesome. Like mobile versions. It is. It's just like, but then I go back to it. It's like, I don't want to sit blocked out from the rest of the world.
That's the thing.
Does limit
the couch with the kind of like fake TV VR, which you get in from like this.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think of a use case. Why not just play it on your TV?
Yeah. Maybe if you like stuff on your face, then this is for you.
Yeah, you're strapping a TV to your face, and really, I know, like, was it Apple when they brought out their VR headset?
Vision Pro,
showing people in public using it. It's like, that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. No one's doing
not outside of California. That does not happen. There's no.
I doubt it even happens in California. I just don't think that's how people want to experience technology in public. Because you feel like a bit of a twat.
Yeah, you are. You don't feel like one, you are one. And again, to a point, Richie, the Apple Vision Pro still starting at £3,499. Go fuck yourself, Apple. Like, no regular person is going to drop $3,500 on a VR headset in 2025.
I think they've done that knowing that not many people are going to buy it, so it's an ultra premium product.
Yeah.
So only the hardest core of Apple fans will buy it. Because they know they're not going to sell millions, so how do you make it profitable if you're only going to sell a few thousand? You need to charge a lot of money.
Yeah, it's an insane piece of tech.
Yeah, indeed. Well, our last story of the week, Sega have released some sales figures which show Sonic's, a lot of different sales figures around Sonic's things, and apparently it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, it surprised me a little bit, this one. Like, I'm a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. As I gesture towards, I realise nothing's in shot. There's another one. There's a Mega Drive collection, everything behind it as well. But
you've always got the Sonic on top of your Mega Drive Sonic thing, haven't you? On top of your shelves.
Yeah, he's buried in there. It's buried in there somewhere. But yeah, over the weekend, sales figure leaked, and surprisingly well. We've got a total. Sonic Frontiers has sold 4.57 million units.
Not bad.
Which is
not bad.
Really good. Sonic Superstars sold 2.43. Team Sonic Racing sold 3.5. And then the company officially revealed that Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is the remaster with the little addition of Shadow being added into it, sold 2.3 million units. So as a complete package, as a brand, these Sonic games, for all they're not as revered or they're not as well received as they maybe once were, they're still doing quite well. Sonic Frontiers selling over 4.5 million units is impressive. If we think we just talk about like FBC Firebreak having 1 million plays, this is actually like sold through units. So it's a lot of cash for Sega for a Sonic game.
And they provide some context as well for these numbers. So Persona 5 Royale sold 7.25 million copies, which is probably lower than the reality if you looked at the whole Persona 5 suite games, not the spin-offs, just original Persona 5 and Royale.
Which one's Royale?
Royale was
remaster?
Kind of. I don't think it's so much a remaster as a more complete version of the game. They added an extra character, quite an extra few story beats to it. And they extended the 100-hour game to probably about 130 hours.
Right.
Yeah. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth sold 1.66 million. Like a Dragon The Man Who Raised His Name, 960,000. Metaphor ReFantazio, 2 million. So Sonic's doing quite well.
He's still their flagship brand. Bit of a surprise there for Like a Dragon. I feel like we praise them for how quick they get those games out, but do you feel like we're maybe hitting a saturation point now where it's like, I can't even finish one before there's a new one out? Like, we've just got Like a Dragon Yakuza, just the pirate one, just came out as well, and it's like, I haven't even had a chance to think about Infinite Wealth or then The Man Who Raised His Name, and you're seeing diminishing returns now, and I think maybe they're just squeezing that sponge a little bit too much.
Yeah, I feel like that might be why the sales are down closer to the 1 million mark, because they just keep coming out.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to keep up with. If you're a fan of it, it's hard to keep up, because literally 2025 was Pirate, 2024 was Infinite Wealth, 2023 was Like a Dragon Ishin and Like a Dragon Guide in the Manual Racer's name. They brought out Lost Judgment, which is part of the same series, in 2021. 2020, Like a Dragon and Streets of Kamurocho. 2018 was Judgment, Ryu, Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. These are all just in the franchise.
It's too much, yeah. It's too much. But yeah. Metaphor, only 2 million is a bit of a surprise. I thought it would have sold more. Just putting it in line with, if you think about, like, I feel like it had all the hype and the buzz.
Yeah.
But then Expedition 33 sold past 3.3 in like a month.
I think because it's a massive turn-based JRPG, I'm not that surprised, because they are fairly niche-ish. Like, a lot of people just nowadays won't touch a game because it's turn-based.
Yeah. It did come out later in the year, didn't it, right? So yeah. I feel like Expeditions had this...
Expedition 33 is turn-based, but it looks more like a modern game.
Yeah, I get you. But overall, things looking fairly healthy for Sega and Sonic.
Yeah, going back to Yakuza and like the Like a Dragon series, in the last 10 years they put out like 15 games. That's like 1.5 games a year. That's like the kind of cadence. So I'm not surprised that their numbers are a little bit lower, because they keep churning them out.
Reusing them assets.
Indeed. But that is all we have time for this week. But before we end the show, we like to go back into the past and talk about this week in video game history. So Chris, June the 29th, what have we got?
Well, Richie, taking the clock back in time, 27 years ago, in 1998, we had the launch of Banjo-Kazooie on the N64.
That's an awesome game.
I don't really remember. I played it around my cousins, and I remember basically thinking it's just like Mario, but I've got a bird on my back.
Yeah, it's a puzzle platform. It's a 3D puzzle platformer.
And like, I didn't dislike or like it, but I don't have any like reverence for it of like, oh my god. And I know everyone is clamoring for a remake. I think now Microsoft own Rare, and then everyone's like kind of saying, right, what are they doing with Crash Bandicoot? What are they doing with Spyro? Banjo-Kazooie is that other one where it's like, surely one of your 100 studios you have, one of them can work on a Banjo-Kazooie one, because Microsoft does need more kids' family games, right?
Yeah, it fit nicely in the like portfolio as well, because they don't have that many like family-friendly games. Don't have any puzzle platforms. Sony have just launched a kind of pushing ahead with Astrobot at the moment. Yeah. So obviously Nintendo have Mario. Banjo could be Microsoft's answer to that. Yeah,
it certainly could be. And we know obviously we've had the spiritual successor, because we had Yooka-Laylee come out, which again, it very much, I enjoyed Yooka-Laylee. We had the Yooka-Laylee 2D one that actually reviewed better than the 3D one, ironically. That came out. Then we've had the repackaged versions of them come out too. So those are ex-Rare devs that have kind of went back to their roots. But yeah, we saw a resurgence in puzzle platformers and stuff come back. And I think, Microsoft just need a couple more things like that. As a little side note to this, actually, I don't know if you saw it this week, there's rumours of a Little Big Planet remaster being put together as well behind the scenes at PlayStation. So when you're saying about like like 3D mascots and stuff coming back, could be a good wave to ride if Microsoft can get their ducks in a row.
Yeah, I feel like Banjo-Kazooie fell out of favour because on the N64 generation, when it was released on the Nintendo platform, it was doing really well. But then with what happened to Rare and getting sold and moving on, and it seems like they finally found the home with Microsoft. Rare's a very different company to what it was at its peak during the N64. Now they're making Sea of Thieves, which is so they're back in a good position. Yeah,
there's juice to be made.
But there's stuff that they had, which could be awesome to go back to. Another game for me, 25 years ago, Icewind Dale on the PC. So if you haven't played Icewind Dale, basically it's in the same. It's like the original Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. It's that era of game, that like Dungeons and Dragons style RPG from back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right. One I would like to bring up, which isn't a game, but it did change the games industry, is 18 years ago, in 2007, we had the launch of iOS on the original iPhone, and then subsequently the iPad. And if you think about it, how much that revolutionized just games, like touch screen games, like games were on phones beforehand, but when it had like the haptic feedback where you had to really press the screen in, you couldn't really swipe. There was nothing like that. And then I think the ability to swipe and move things opened the door for gaming and just gestures and touch mechanics.
I feel like as well,
it blew up.
Before iOS, games were on phones, but you bought a phone, it came with a game, games installed. Apart from maybe, was it the Nokia N-Gage, where you could get cartridges for it?
Yeah, they had like Tomb Raider and stuff like that, and it was it didn't sell well.
iOS at least if they didn't create it, they popularized the platform for the current mobile gaming market as we know it today.
Yeah, and a storefront, an actual storefront that you could go in and there would be a top 10 games list, and you download them. Like I remember like Fruit Ninja and stuff were huge, Candy Crush, Angry Birds, like all these games spawned from that, and then they've gone on to be like multi-million pound/dollar things unto themselves. But it also impacted it in a way of like the race to the bottom. Games went from being, when it launched, remember, you would pay £10 for Fruit Ninja, £10 for Angry Birds 2, and then that race to the bottom of like, now the $4.99, now the 99p, now the free-to-play. Now, why is Plants vs. Zombies 2 free, but I have to pay $2.99 for a speed pack, or I have to wait 24 hours to unlock the next enemy? And then the dynamics of microtransactions really fuck the industry over.
And to be honest, the psychological stuff that comes with the gambling addiction that has been inbuilt into these a lot of mobile games by design to keep you hooked. Loot boxes exist because of iOS.
Oh yes.
I'm not even joking there, because loot boxes originated from the mobile game. I think it made its way over. Yeah,
ruined it. But back to some quick shout-outs to games before going down that rabbit hole. 26 years ago, we got 1999 Driver on the original PlayStation. Absolutely love the original Driver game. And take your pick, Richie, on the N64, the same day you could either play Mario Golf or Pokemon Snap. Pick your poison.
I feel like I go Pokemon Snap. But I wouldn't mind. Mario Golf could be fun as well.
Yeah, both great. And then the last one for me on this day is the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, the remaster package that saved the Bandicoot 8 years ago.
Fucking hell.
2017. That feels like yesterday.
Yeah,
we got that repackage. It's nearly a decade old.
I mean, if this was Sony, they'd be remastering it again.
Several times over. PC release, port, director's cut. And
damn.
It goes on. If you skip to July the 1st, because I know we'll miss it next week, and I know the show's going long. 34 years ago, Duke Nukem came out.
Awesome game.
Streets of Rage 3, 31 years ago. Disney's Hercules on the PlayStation 1. Phenomenal game. And then the last one I'll shout out. Yeah.
Star Fox 64, or if you're in the UK, Lilac Wars, as it's called.
Lilac Wars. Oh, and Dino Crisis in Japan. So what a couple of days of game in the video game history, with the exception of iOS. Both enhancing the industry and at the same time screwing it over.
Yeah. Changing it for good and for bad. But that is all we have time for this week. If you've liked the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell with Bill.
Oh.
So you're kept in the loop. Just take a bell, whack him with your bill.
There's a tiny little side note that's got nothing to do with it. Because you said Bill, I was playing a drinking game with my brother the other night and our family, and it was blind ranking TV show themes, and it had like your eclectic mix of like Game of Thrones and all these other things that were in there. And because we're in England and we're in Britain, he also had Coronation Street, EastEnders, Emmerdale, and I was like, you know what? They are bangers. For all things said and done, as soon as you hear that as a British person, you get nostalgia, you get an overwhelming sense of like it was born in the background throughout your childhood without realising it. And they are some hell of a tunes. He played the Bill's theme tune, which I don't think I've heard the theme tune to the Bill in about 25 years. I kid you not, if you play that now, Richie, to outrow this show, it sounds like a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 level soundtrack. It's like, I don't know if you can even remember off the top of your head, but when it played, I just turned to my brother and went, this sounds like a Sonic level from the Mega Drive. And
it's licensed music. I don't want us to get struck.
It might be, but also the show ended 20 years ago, so I don't know if ITV if you put it at the very end, you could just trim it off.
Is, though. Like,
we could just trim it off.
Yeah, true.
If we get a strike, just trim it from the end.
Yeah.
But I'd love our audience to just hear the amazing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 16-bit, The Bill from ITV back in, 1997?
I'll see if I can find it.
Just give you some work.
Yeah. I'm just
you said Bill. You said Bill instead of Bell. I'm just gonna say that.
I did. Yeah. we occasionally get like content like claims from like episodes of the podcast that came out about 4 years ago. Like,
Stadia episodes. It's like we don't care.
Yeah, that's fine.
The moment's gone.
Yeah, we had 100 views like 4 years ago. I'm fine with you claiming some money now.
Yeah, you claim your 0.1 pence back.
Yeah, but again, make sure you like everything. Descriptions for all our socials are in the links below. Join our Discord server because it's awesome. And with that, GG everyone, goodbye.
Doon. Goodbye.